share my screen. Okay. Hope you guys are able to see my screen. Okay. Okay. So yeah, yesterday we left it here. Okay. So this is like plain Java. You know using interfaces. Actually, we were trying to make it as loosely coupled, and now and we discussed all about this. Spring related concepts, how you create a bean and what we call as a bean and how you can call that bean to use it. And yeah, so there are a lot of things that we have covered yesterday about bean related concept. Okay. And in that actually we covered auto wiring and okay, internally it covers auto wiring and all. Okay, but today I'll show you what exactly it is. Okay. uh, S- So what we are gonna write? So we are going to write a configuration class. Okay, according to whatever we learned yesterday, there's a class that we need to prepare, like hello world configuration class, which contains all the beans, and we are giving those beans to the context. Okay, you know, uh, getting that context, and we were trying to retrieve all those beans from context, and we were doing it whatever we want, right? So we are performing some operations, and we are just printing it. Okay, so same way we have this gaming class, okay, earlier. So app gaming basics, right? So what exactly you think, like how we can convert this into a Spring, right? So let's do, let me copy this. Six Java Spring 2. Okay, so let me put app gaming basic Java Spring 2. Okay, and I'm just opening this one. Okay, let me remove this code. Okay, now what we need to do, we have to load the context first, and with the configuration, okay, class. So what do we need to do? We need to add that configuration class first, right? So what I've done, actually, I already created a configuration class, to explain to complete this as soon as possible, and I can explain thing. So how do we declare a configuration class, using annotation configuration at configuration. So, and also I have given couple of beans, okay, to run the gaming application. Okay, these are the main things, right? We need that game runner bean, and also game game you know game bean, right? So what I've done, actually, it is very simple. Okay, so I'm just calling gaming console, just a method which will be returning the Pac-Man game as an object. Okay, and the other one, I'm just game runner class, sorry, yeah, game runner, I'm passing this game console, whatever the game that we have given, whatever the game that we have created at the bean. Okay, that game will be passed to the game runner. Okay, so you will be getting the game runner as a return. Okay, so this are two beans which I've created in the configuration. And now what we need to do, we need to construct the main class, okay, to call to utilize those beans. Okay, I'm gonna, like, what I've done, actually, I'm gonna utilize, okay, the existing code, okay, here, just copying this and pasting it here. Okay, so what I've done, actually, I just, initialize the context, and, I pass that configuration class to the context, saying that, okay, this is our configuration class, and, we have these two beans, and I'm just calling the methods. Okay. Okay, let me do one thing. Okay. Yeah. Now let me run this. Okay. Okay. See, it ran. Okay. So what I'm calling, actually, I'm calling. Okay. I'm retrieving the bean with the type of it, right? Gaming console. I'm just opening. I'm trying to push. Sorry, call the up method. So it gave me that up method, right? And so game runner class, I'm calling the run method, which internally calls couple of methods. Okay, up, down, left, right. So those methods are also, completed, like, it displayed. So I think, it is pretty simple, right? Like, when you create a bean, you are directly, it is directly injecting, to the gaming console, and, we are able to see that output. Okay, in we are able to see the output, for all the methods which we have it on the gaming console, right? Up, down, and left, right. Okay, for Pac-Man. Okay, so now when you see it, actually, when we had this theoretical concepts, for Spring, we mentioned that Spring is going to manage. Okay, Spring is going to manage creation of these objects, and also this life cycle of these objects, right? When whatever we declare it as a bean. But if you see here, I'm still, trying to create those objects, and I'm returning myself, to as a bean, saying that, okay, consider this as a bean to Spring. So let's see, what exactly we can do, to avoid this gaming configuration class, right? Yeah, what exactly we can do to avoid this gaming configuration class, and we can separately we can separate this, bean creations and all those things, right? Let Spring handle it. So how we can do it, right? Let's see one by one. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm just, not going to utilize this gaming configuration class. Instead, I'm just copying this code. Okay, I'll go back to this and just pasting it here. Okay, and yeah, let me try to delete this. Okay, okay, so now if I deleted gaming configuration, okay, so there is some issue, right? It is asking us, to there is no gaming configuration class. So what exactly, okay, so where exactly we have the configuration? We have the configuration, this class itself, right? Because, you are declaring couple of beans in the class, same class only. So what we can do, we can just use the same class. Okay, let's see if Spring is able to run this one. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, it's still able to run that. Okay. Now, still, you see the beans are getting created from our side only, right? So what we'll try to do, actually, we will, we will make sure this complete bean cycle, taken care by Spring, like, creating, destroying everything will be taken care by Spring. So what we need to do, let's go for Pacman and simply add an annotation at the rate component. Okay. Okay. So what this component does, right? It is going to tell to Spring, okay, these are the classes. Okay. You have to load it, and you have to create, you have to create this object, and you need to maintain the life cycle of that object. So at the rate component is going to tell, and it is going to be picked up by Spring, okay, the first load, and it is going to create those objects on its own. Okay. So let's see how it does. Let me go back to the app gaming basics. Okay. Now, sorry, not this one. Okay, 1 second. Let me close all. Yeah. Okay. So if you see here now, what we have done, we already declared as a component. Okay, over here, and uh, let us try to comment this one, right? Because we already have that component scan. Sorry, component annotation, right? So let me try to run this. Oh, see, there is some issue. Okay, what it is saying, unsatisfied dependency exception. Okay, so it is saying that the game runner defined, and it doesn't have any, no qualifying bean, right? So we were trying to give that component, okay, component on Pacman, but Spring was not able to find it out. Why? Right? Let's see what happens. So if you, so Spring was able to, we already told that component is a Pacman. Okay, you take it, you create that object and all, right? But Spring was not able to find it, because there is one thing that we need to do when you try to run, you know, uh, when you try to ask Spring to create the objects. So you have to give that, uh, path of those classes wherever the components were created, right? So let's say, you are there in this package com.first.learning, and we have Pacman in com.first.learning.game, right? So what we need to do, okay, so Spring provides, an annotation called component scan. Okay, so what is this, right? Let's see. I'm gonna give that package name where exactly my components are there. Okay, so I have given it now. Okay, let's see if if Spring is now able to create that component, and whether it is going to give that bean to the game runner, so that we can execute Pacman game without any object creations from our side, right? So let's see. That's Java application. Yep, it was able to run it, right? You see here, running game Pacman. Okay, Now, what we can do with this? Okay, so let's uh, try to add this game runner also as a component. Okay, okay, and let's see whether if Spring is able to create this one also, right? And component. Okay, yeah. So let me try to run. Uh, just remove that bean. Okay, I'm trying to run this. Super, right? It was able to run this. Okay, there is no error. So that means the code, whatever we have written for creating and making it as a bean, okay, it no longer required. So the code, whatever we use, it is only retrieving those beans which are called or which are which are the objects which are generated by Spring, and we can directly utilize them by calling get beans, right? So it is simple, right? Like you are not able to you don't require to create those objects, and you don't require to maintain that life cycle of that objects. Spring is taking care of now, okay, with the help of some annotations whatever we have added today. Okay, so and we remove that configuration related concept and everything. Okay, so it is no longer required. Okay, so Spring can maintain that for the bean cycles and all, right? So let's see, but now we are able to execute, okay, only the Pac-Man game, right? But we have other Mario and Contra game also in the game package, but we did not added any component scan for it, right? Sorry, component annotation to it, correct? So let's try now adding at the rate component. Okay, okay, so I'm adding at the rate component for Contra and adding at the rate component for Mario. Okay, so now try to run this application. Okay, okay, let's see. Bean. Okay, see, it is having an error. Okay, so what it is telling? Okay, see, gaming console is going to take one single bean, but Spring was able to find three beans, which is Contra game, Mario game, and Pac-Man. So Spring is not able to inject that the gaming object to the game console, because instead of finding one, actually it found three. So how do you make the priority, like which one I need to go with the you know uh, which one I need to go with first? Okay, or how you can remove this ambiguity, right? Which bean it has to choose. So there are a couple of ways, okay, that we can do it. I think we already learned those things. One is like qualifier, and the other one is you have to use the qualifier annotation, and the other one is you can use a simple one. Let me show you the Mario game. I'm just going to add at the rate primary. Okay, let's see now whether it is resolving that issue. Yes, now it started executing Mario game. Okay, and yeah, so it executed all the methods in it, right? So that means, default, actually we have three beans which can be injected to game runner, but still, Mario game got, injected to that, and it was able to run uh, the game runner class, and we are able to see the all the output from Mario class, right? So let's see, now you wanted to run Contra. Okay, so the other way that you can do it, right? Qualifier. Okay, sorry. Contra. Game runner. So where we are passing is this one, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm like, for your understanding purpose, actually what I've done, even though it is loading a Mario game with the primary, like, with the primary, what do we say, annotation. Okay, so I'm still trying to utilize the Contra game using a qualifier. Okay, so what I've done, actually I just use the qualifier. Okay, when we inject that gaming console, okay, to game runner. Okay, so I'm just giving the Contra game instead of Mario, which was pushed by Spring. Okay, so let's see if this is going to work or not. Okay. Okay, so it worked. Okay, instead of primary, I have used the qualifier, and it is able to execute the Contra game, right? Jump, sit down, go to back, and shoot, right? So these things are getting executed, without any problems. So now you might understand, right? Like, where, uh, even though you have multiple beans, that you have to, utilize them based on the priority base, and you know uh, based on your business logic, you are going to use those beans, okay, in the in the application whatever you are developing, right? So based on your beans, you are going to declare all these things, these annotations, these help of annotations, and you're going to build your project. Okay, so this is how, like, we Spring is maintaining, creating all those objects, and it is maintaining its life cycle for all the objects. Okay, so if you look back, the basic Java code that we have done, so we were taking care of all the objects creations, we were taking care of those okay, so different objects creations based upon the requirement of yours, right? Which game you wanted to run. Now you're not doing anything actually. Okay, so Spring is taking care of all those things, on behalf of you, right? So any questions on this? Okay, so that I can proceed with a couple of the further topics, and then we'll continue to Spring Boot. No questions? Okay. Yeah. So let me go for the next topic. Okay. So even though you were not aware, like we were already using a couple of dependency injections. Okay, already here, Spring is already having, using that, to you are, let me ask one question. Okay, so you have this. Okay, if I remove this qualifier, okay, if I remove this qualifier, so do you know like who is injecting the gaming console object, like the game? Okay, who is injecting to this constructor? We are not doing it, right? We never called any constructor of game runner, and we are not passing any object to it, to execute run method or something, right? What we are doing, we are just calling gaming console dot class dot up and gaming runner game runner dot class dot run. That doesn't mean like we were injecting something to the game runner, right? We are just calling that bean. Okay, game runner. Okay, so who is doing that, right? Spring is doing that, right? So what kind of injection it is doing? Actually, it's a constructor. Dependency injections are three types. Okay, I already told two types for you guys, when I was sharing those slides. Okay, one is setter injection, and another one is like constructor injection. But there is one more thing, reflection using field injection is also there. Okay, so but for now, actually the dependency injection was happening with the help of constructor over here in this project, right? So let me give you one small example. Okay, so I already had that example written, okay, in the yesterday itself, but I just wanted to show you 1 second. This one. Okay, dependency. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I have what I've done actually, I have created a class dependency injection launcher application. And what I'm trying to do, I wanted to explain like how this dependency injection taking care. Okay, so just a minute, I'll just have some water. Yeah, I'm back. Okay, so as I mentioned, right, we have constructor based injection, setter based injection, and field based injection, right? So this class is going to give a demo for for all those things. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what I've done actually, I have created a dependency injection launcher application. Okay. Okay. So in this, what I'm trying to do, I'm I'm taking a dependency one as a class, and other one is a dependency two. So these are defined as a components. Okay. So that means Spring is going to take care of these two classes, to create. Okay. So to create and to maintain these life cycles of those classes, right? Those objects. Okay, so I have used one more class, your business class. Okay, so this your business class, is also declared as as a component. Okay, now I'm gonna give you some example like how this dependency injection will be taken place. Okay, so let me run this. Okay, first I'll show you what exactly it is doing. So arrays.stream, what it was saying, context.get bean definition names for each. Okay, so this stream is going to print the what are all the dependencies. Sorry, what are all the beans that we have it in the context. It is going to give us. So there are three beans, that dependency one, two, and your business class. Right. Right. So it printed everything. Okay. From what from the context. From the context. Okay, so let me go back here. So you see a different one. Okay, component scan and configuration, right? So I think you're already aware of configuration, but component scan generally is having a package, right? So why we did not had any package over here? Because we added all the classes in the same class instead of with a package. So when we have that all the in all in the same class, right? We don't require to mention any package names for that component scan. So Spring will be able to get those things automatically, and it is going to create those dependency, whatever the classes, whatever we have added it is going to create those beans. So if you check this log, right? So this is a proof. Okay, uh, creating shared instance of singleton bean, dependency one and dependency 2. So it's already creating all those beans, okay, in the context, okay, just because of we added that at the rate component, right? So, okay, and if you see here, there is some logic that I have given over here in the your business class. So I took the dependency 1 and dependency 2 as a fields over here, and what I'm doing actually I'm trying to create a constructor. Okay. In the constructor, we are passing these fields, okay, and parameters, okay, and those. I'm sorry. Those parameters are utilized, to assign to the dependency one and dependency two, right? So, what we are doing, we are just utilizing constructor dependency injection over here. How Spring is doing. Okay, so whenever it creates that your business class, executes this constructor, sorry, and it is going to inject these dependency beans. Okay, whatever it is already created by Spring, it is going to inject them over here, and these two objects will be available for us, okay, to utilize. So how you're seeing that, if you see here in the console, this is where the auto wiring is happening. Auto wiring by type from bean name your business class via constructor to bean name dependency one. And the same thing is happening with the dependency two. So auto wiring, how it is happening? It is happening based upon constructor. Okay. So let me do one thing. Okay. I'm just going to comment this. Okay, I'm just running this, okay, without any, without any setter injection or construction injection, right? So I'm just trying to run this one. Okay, still we are able to see that, okay, still we are able to see actually, it is creating those singleton bean, but there is no injection happened, right? That auto wiring was not done, correct? So that's why when it executed string two string method, actually it is giving using null and null. Okay, so what we are trying to display over there, dependency 1 and dependency 2, correct? So what we'll do now, we'll just do the setter injection. Okay, okay, yeah, let me come to this one first. Okay, so this is a setter injection. So I just created couple of setting, couple of setter methods. Okay, and I'm just passing the dependencies. Okay, so let's see, if I did not added this component, sorry, this annotation auto wide, so how the Spring is going to behave, right? So let's see. Let me run this application. Yeah, what it is done, it did not created. Okay, creating singleton your okay, it just created the beans, but it never auto-wired anything to your business class for the dependency 1 and dependency 2, right? So now to do that, okay, you have to explicitly say this auto-wired, okay, so that Spring will auto-wire those objects to the dependencies. Okay, so let me run this. Yeah, now you see there is something it is printing. Okay, see, setter injection happened. Okay, dependency 2 and dependency 1, and been as usual by been actually creating those objects, and now the setter injection happened because of that auto wire, right? So, and you see it here when we print that string, two string methods, actually it is printing this, right? So the setter injection is happened now, so that means it is working, right? So let me go back, just comment this. So there is one thing I wanted to let you know. Okay, so when you used constructor, actually we never did auto wide for the constructor, right? So it is like it doesn't require for constructor, because it's not a mandatory one, because generally whenever what exactly the constructor is, constructor is utilized to you know uh, create those objects which are required for that class, or some other class. Actually we use the constructor for that purpose. Okay, now also Spring is also utilizing the constructor for same purpose. Okay, so like creating something, or assigning something, or so those things will be happened at the constructor level. So when you use those constructors, okay, you don't require to use auto wired. It's not a mandatory for constructor. So still Spring can able to understand it has to auto wire some dependencies to it. Okay, so for constructor, auto wired is not required. Okay, you can use it, but it is not mandatory. Okay, so let me Just a minute. Okay. Yeah. So I'm sorry. Okay. So I told you like there are three different type of injections, right? But we covered only the constructor and we covered only the setter injection, right? So let us go with the field injection. So now I don't have anything except the string method. Okay. So let me enable this. Okay. So what if we have this string method, toString method, and I'm trying to run this application. Okay. So what it is doing, okay. So it is giving using null and null, correct? So how to inject, how to use this field injection, right? Because we don't have anything over here, right? The dependencies were there, but Spring is not able to do that. So what we have done for setter and constructor, we used auto wire annotation, to inject that, right? To auto wire it. Okay. So similarly, just add this auto wire to the field injections. That's it. Now just try to run it. You see here using, so Spring is able to do the field injection, okay, when we use auto wide directly for that object. Okay, so the reference, whatever we created over here, right? So that means, toString, when we execute a toString, actually we are getting the dependency one object and dependency two object. That's how. Okay. So these are all the three different injection dependency injections that we can achieve using Spring. Okay. So you're able to understand. I think hope so. You're able to understand this dependency injection concept. Okay. So I think we covered those the main topics of Spring. Okay. So but we will cover most of the things when we go to Spring Boot. Okay. So let's go and check what exactly the Spring Boot is. Okay. Okay. So you can actually using without using Spring Boot also we can build so many things. Okay. And we can bring we can build even the web services also, right? But why we do require that Spring Boot, right? Okay, we will learn those things, okay, in the coming in the coming slides, or in the coming examples, that whatever we take it. Okay. So whatever the things I wanted to tell here, actually, uh, before Spring Boot, okay, there are a lot of things that we are managing to deploy a Spring based application into production. So we were managing so many manual configurations. Okay. Most of the XML files like pom.xml, web.xml, and context.xml. Okay. So pom.xml we were able to use, with the dependency management, and define web application configuration. Actually, we utilize that web.xml. And these things are configuring it is not easy, depending on the environments that you push: dev, SIT, or PSIT, or TT, or production and contingency. So these kind of environments will have in our day-to-day day-to-day company project deployments. Okay. So these things, okay, how we can minimize them. Okay. And when we use with this implement non-functional requirements like logging and other things, whatever we have it, so those things are also to be configured based upon the environment wise, right? So it will take, I'm not saying actually it is not configurable, but it will take a few days to set it up for each project. Okay, so that how Spring Boot has been helping us, okay, to create these things, right? Or to manage these things properly, to achieve very less coding and very less configuration when we are when we are deploying this application to several environments, right? So we'll see that, okay, while going first. So but before that, what I'm trying to do, we are going to create a REST API. Okay, so we are going to create a REST API, and we'll be identifying these resources like something like users ID and posts. Okay, not only the same example, but I just added it over here. What are all the concepts that we can achieve from Spring Boot? Okay, so identifying actions, get, post, put, delete, and defining request and response structures. Okay, using appropriate response status codes, okay, to make sure whether whether our request is accepted, or it is successful or it is not successful, whether the server is available or not, those things we are going to check it. Okay, and we are going to understand the REST API best practices. Okay, like validation, internationalization, okay, exception handling, ATOs and versioning, okay, documentation and content negotiation, and a lot more. Okay, so there are a lot of things that we get it from Spring Boot, but I'll try to cover most of them, okay, with the Spring Boot, with the time permits. But yeah, for now actually we are going to start with a basic example with Spring Boot. Okay, what we need to do, we need to create a Spring Boot project first and just build a simple REST API using Spring Boot. Okay, so I'm looking for something like this. Okay, this is our JSON response, and this is our the one which I'm trying to pull it. Okay, so I just copied this thing from from the Google. Okay, so I try to yeah, I try to create those examples ready before the class, so that we can cover it. Okay, so I just copied them from the Google. Okay, so but what I've done actually, I have created the same example on my own. Okay, so to let you know what exactly we can do that, right? So to create the Spring Boot application, you have to go to Spring Initializer. Okay, so Spring Initializer will give you an instant project of Springs. Okay, and you can utilize them directly in your Eclipse, or in the IDE. Okay, what we are going to do, so we are going to I'm using Maven project. Okay, and the Spring Boot version is 3.0. Okay, so if you are using Spring Boot version 3.0, that means you have to use Java compiler version up to 17. Okay, 17 is minimum, and you can utilize more. Okay, 19 is also okay, but you should not use 11 or 8. So Spring Boot 3 is not going to support, okay, if you use below 17 version. Okay, so so what I'm trying to do here, com dot hello. Okay, I'm just doing this. Okay, I'm just giving the package name, and the artifact is primary and Spring Boot. Okay, so yeah, so it is a jar, and I selected already 17 Java. It's a basic one. Okay, so for when it comes to the dependency, okay, you have to get the Spring Web as a dependency, because there are the dependencies, if you want to develop a REST service, okay, you have to use Spring Web as a dependency for it. Okay, and it will come with multiple options. Okay, it supports Spring MVC, and also it comes with an embedded Tomcat to it, to make sure your services are up and running using that embedded Tomcat. Okay, so yeah, we are almost done. Okay, so we created a project which is having based upon Java language, and it is Maven, and we use 3.0 a version of Spring Boot and compatible version of Java, and we just added one dependency, which is Spring Web. And the next one is, just go and click generate. Once you click on generate, actually it is going to create a project for you, and it will be downloaded for you. Okay, so what you have to do, just extract this project and import that project into your Eclipse. So which I already done it, for my for one of the service which I'm going to create it. Okay, so how to import project? Just go to here, import, and this is a Maven project. So select existing Maven projects and just select that folder where exactly you wanted to see, like practice-spring, which I've done. So if you see here, it is showing all those pom.xmls, and whatever the pom.xml that you downloaded, you can just import them. Okay, so which will create a project like this. Okay, here, so which I already done it, the first project for Spring Boot. Okay, and you won't see any differences when you come to the Spring Boot. Okay, so you are going to see there are few other annotations that we are going to utilize in Spring Boot. Okay, so what was our concept? We are going to create one get method, and which will return all the courses, okay, which are available. Okay, so that's why we have a couple of classes over here, and this is our default class which will come with whenever you create a project with Spring Initializer. So what do we have? Nothing. Okay, it is just trying to run the Spring application. Okay, this is where actually it starts. So you see this @Spring Boot application. Okay, this is our annotation. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, so this is the annotation which it tells, like where the Spring Boot application is going to start. Okay, so it internally run the application. Okay, and yeah, so what it is going to do, right? What we are going to develop over here, we are just going to give a REST controller class. Okay, so the Spring will identify this annotation, and it can understand this is the component that we are going to expose as a service. Okay, so that's why we use this annotation REST controller. Okay, and what I've done, actually I have created a request mapping, okay, with some pattern URL, okay, saying that /courses. Okay, so /courses, what it is going to give you, actually it is returning couple of things. Okay, one is object of course. Okay, and what it is having, the list number, and what the other one is the type of course, and which institute or something it is going to give us, right? It is very basic, basic example. Okay, so what I've done, actually I created a bean which contains ID, name, and author. Okay, and which it contains constructor, and and toString method, and all the getters and setter methods. Okay, so which is for the course class. Okay, now we have everything ready. Okay, to run this application, you just need to go to first Spring Boot application and run as Java application. Let's see. So if you observe here, okay, so the application has been already started. Okay, and if you see here, it says that Tomcat started at port number 8080, right? Okay, so from where this Tomcat has been started, right? I already mentioned, like, when we took that dependency Spring Web, actually Spring Web is going to come with you with the embedded Tomcat, for the application. So now what we have done, actually we have created a REST controller which is having one get method, get web service, service method, and it is returning some of the, JSON object. Okay, so let's try to call that JSON object. Okay, so something like this. Okay, okay, see, okay, let me close this and call one more time. Okay, okay, localhost courses. When I call this, okay, you see something, in this way, right? So I'm getting a response, okay, for first, learn AWS from author and learn iSeries, okay, from, some different author, right? So this is what, we were expecting. Okay, this is, a JSON object, okay, which we are getting it from this REST controller, right? This is the request mapping which is doing, okay, which is giving you a response back, to the client, right? The browser. So going actually, we'll go and discuss each and everything, in tomorrow's class. Okay, and we'll find out, we'll try to connect these services, to a database, or else we'll introduce one new concept, on-fly database kind of thing, so which can be utilized when we are doing standalone coding. Okay, or else, I'll try to cover the MongoDB, to how to connect it, and we'll retrieve something from there. Okay, and yeah, so in tomorrow's class, actually, we are going to deal with the database and also the REST services. Okay, for using Spring Boot. Okay, if you guys have any questions, let me know. We can. I'll try to answer them. Yeah. Any questions?